Football with friends. It's fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Wednesday edition of the show, a pre-Thanksgiving edition. So pumped to be here with you guys here on Orange Bloods Live. And make sure and stay tuned here after we get done, as the Outsiders is going to take over here after us. But man, Cody, a lot to get to today. Gosh, it's been a content-packed day. I know you've been on the road for 36 straight hours, driving some rusty truck back to South Carolina.
It made it in one piece. I will say that made it in one piece so far.
Yeah, but so today, basically, what I had to do is I had to finish all the deep dig. I put it up with the offense and the defense. So we're going to talk about that. Talk about the offensive line grades. I want to talk about Colin Simmons. He's on the thumbnail. It's beginning to look like he might be the sort of the freshman, college football freshman defensive player of the year. And we'll just go over some of the players that he's like looking at against that, and what some of the numbers show against the historic president as far as his production and his efficiency so far here in just his freshman year. It's truly amazing. The SEC rankings that Cody and I are going to put in for Orange Bloods. I still haven't done mine, so we're going to talk through that. What else did we say we're going to talk about? Something about, you said like some notes you had on Lamont Rogers.
Yeah, well, it's Rogers / Fasusi, so they kind of work They kind of work together. I'll just jump right into it. It's a small note from my Monday column. If you didn't see, it was over at orangebloods.com. It's over there every single Monday. It's called Behind the Enemy Lines, and I go and check out a couple different sites. I'm actually going to have the plan is for my Wednesday piece that's going to come out Thanksgiving morning is going to be multiple teams, not just A&M focused across the SEC. But this one, I was over on the Aggie Yell, the Rivals Aggies site, and they've been talking about Lamont Rogers, of course, the commit to Missouri right now. And I think last week or 2 weeks ago in my column, I had written up that they basically felt that Rogers was all but kind of a hush-hush flip coming down the pipeline. And the note that I got from Landon Robinson over at Aggie Yell was, I'm told, this is in quotes, I'm told Lamont Rogers is waiting to see what Fasusi ultimately chooses to do in his future. End quote. It makes sense in totality, but not something we had heard prior, as we knew Rogers was at least looking harder at A&M. That's my take there. And I said, I'm not sure if that means that Fasusi goes to A&M, that Rogers stays put at Missouri, or if Fasusi goes to Texas, then Rogers flips to A&M or potentially Oklahoma. We know that Fasusi, of course, is thinking about Texas as well as A&M, and then we also know that Rogers, who committed to Missouri, was looking at A&M as well. I'm not sure if both would go to A&M. I'm not sure if neither would go to A&M. I'm not sure, but I think that they're both looking like they're going to be on the move. And Rogers, of course, didn't have as much of a connection to Texas, at least before he was committed to Missouri.
He did. It felt like Texas wasn't even in it at the end.
Yeah,
it was A&M in Missouri and maybe some Oklahoma in there, but Texas wasn't even in there. Lamont Rogers, I think, he's off the board for Texas. They're, that ship has sailed. I think it's interesting because if you read, if you just listen to what Jason has said about it, I mean, it feels like whenever Fasusi came in over this weekend, he came in with. Do you think it's at all weird that all the issue was talking about his mom, and Ketchum had shows all week about Fasusi's mom, and Ketchum always says, you got to win the mom. You got to win the mom. He tells stories from going back to 1982 or something, but literally probably the early 1990s.
Yeah.
Where, he's like, I was backstage in the green room and some dude's mom was there and she started crying whenever she thought he was going to go to Nebraska. And so he stayed close to home and went to Texas, and he flipped right at the last minute. And he's got story after story after story like this. And so clearly he, Ketch has always subscribed to the, you got to win the mom theory. And so I don't know whether that's something that Ketch, just working with Ketch and being friends with him for 20 years now. That's something that I've just kind of picked up from him, that where it's just one of his little things, or whether it's actually true. But he certainly did talk a lot about it that week with Fasusi, about how he'd gotten word that the Texas staff still had to win over the mom. And then I just thought, does it matter at all about him coming in with his dad and not his mom to the game?
I wouldn't say that part matters, and I think the mom thing carries a lot of weight, but I think it's more family than anything. I think that family, when you watched him commit, I mean, that was a big deal for the family, and I'm eh, I'm not saying it. I don't know how to word this. I think it has weight that she's probably the linchpin of it to make her happy. And if she's happy, then he's happy and he'll just do whatever makes his heart feels right to do. But I wouldn't look into mom not being at Texas this last weekend. Um, I think it's family more than it is just purely mom. But I think the thing that you bring up about Catch talking about the history of the mom, like I think yes, majority or if not all sons, boys, and you know this as a man, as a male, as a son, as well as one that has a son. Like there's a different connection you have with your mom, and so I think that that's just something that's there. That he wants to make her
Let
happy,
me
and
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, and let me ask the audience a question. Just you guys think about this to yourself. What is the single grandparent that you have the best connection with?
my mom's mom.
I'd like to hear what people in the chat say, but
What's
I,
yours?
I it would have been certainly my mom's mom. Now my mom's dad died like like a month before I was born, so I never got to meet him. They all said I would have loved him. I mean, and I loved all my grandparents, right?
Yeah,
But they say that
connections different with usually with one.
well, it's like here's the thing. If you you can they just say that it could be some kind of it could be like evolution, whatever. I don't I stay out of wading into those topics, but there's the fact of the matter is your mom's mom is the only one who knows that baby is related to her, right? Your dad can't ever be sure absent a DNA test. Neither of your dad's parents can ever be sure, but your mom knows the baby came out of her, and she knows that baby came out of her baby, and so they say that that's always the strongest relationship. Just as a weird aside, and I know we're talking about mothers and not grandmothers, but I think it goes to show that relationship with the mom. I wonder if it's a big deal that she didn't show up.
I don't think.
I'm starting to kind of get a little bit worried about all this.
Oh, you're getting cold feet on Fasusi?
I don't know. It's starting to feel like it's. I mean, he's still going to A&M this. He's still going to A&M this weekend, right? I mean, but that's for a game versus Texas.
Exactly. And I think the game. I'm not sure the decision is solely like, "Hey, I'm leaving Oklahoma to go to Texas." I think it's more I'm leaving Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I think as I think Jason has said multiple times, the way I think Jason wrote it was multiple times is I'm not sure if Susie even knows what he's going to do.
I
And that game this weekend could have a lot of sway into that, how the offensive lines play, how he interacts with the coach at A&M versus how he interacted with Flood this weekend, things they say, how he takes in that crowd versus DKR last week. I think there's a lot of things that he's going to, I mean, back to back. I mean, it's going to be one of these two schools. I think I feel pretty good about that. And then there's obviously the thought that, did Oklahoma win him back last week with the Alabama thing? But I think that's just a flash in the pan. But
I can't believe that I haven't even really looked into to the to how they how are they pitching him about development in a similar way to where in a similar way to where Flood can. You know
who?
what I mean?
Oklahoma?
Yeah. No. A&M.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how I mean, because Zune is at, let's see here. Zune's left tackle. He's like right now projected as far as the mock draft database stuff. He's literally like 285. So he's basically a borderline undrafted 7th-round pick, according to that. So if that's wrong, you can usually give or take those late round guys like maybe a round or two. who is potentially a 5th-round pick, but he's a redshirt junior. So technically he's got another year left at left tackle. The right tackle is a redshirt junior, Demetrius Cronover. Those are your tackle positions. So technically I would bet both of those guys are back, but I don't follow. I'm not to that point yet, where I haven't scouted the tackles for all these teams and crap like that. So
yeah, but what about I don't know anything about what this guy is. So Adam Cushing is the run game coordinator and offensive line coach.
yeah, I don't
I mean,
know.
I'm looking at I'm looking at his resume now for the first time, and I
Yeah.
just like
Well, I think
yo,
cash matters. I think A&M probably has some cash, right? I think Oklahoma had to pay some cash, right? I think that's going to be
this guy, this
as much as he says the mom matters. I think the mom matters as well as the direct deposit. I think that matters too.
I think that he was basically his so he was at Northwestern for a long time. He was a graduate assistant there starting in 2004. Cushing was, right? And then he started coaching tight ends and H-backs. Then he started coaching super backs, whatever that is, / recruiting coordinator. And then in 2009, he moved to offensive line / recruiting coordinator. He was with Northwestern from 2012 to 2018 until he took a head coaching job where he was at 3 seasons at Eastern Illinois. And then Elko hired him on at Duke to be the run game coordinator / offensive line. This dude, what I'm trying to think. Northwestern, what offensive lineman came out of Northwestern?
Skoronsky and
I know Rayshawn Slater. What was it, Slater from there? But that was after 2018. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, back before 2018, there was. I mean, I don't think there's
not a lot pop off, Cody.
I mean, they don't even really have draft picks generally.
Players drafted Northwestern University. I'm just does this?
I don't even think you're going to have. Let's just say for a while there, they didn't really have much of any picks. Periods. 2018 would have been the last. Oh no! Before.
So since he was there, since he was offensive coordinator, it would have been. So he didn't get anybody drafted.
Yeah, I mean, technically, he might have been able to say he recruited Slater. I'm not even sure though.
Hold on. Am I reading the wrong thing?
Slater drafted in 2021.
Oh, hold on. Wait. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Maybe he did get some guys drafted. Hold on. So what I say 2012 to 2018. All right, so that'd be the 2013 draft. DB, QB, defensive end, fullback, linebacker, defensive end, running back, quarterback. Rayshawn Slater, 2021.
Yep.
And then Skoronsky, of course, that was that just last year? No, that was the
Skoronsky, year. Skoronsky was 2 years ago.
Because they went J.C. Latham, right? I think the Kyle Flood's got a pretty good pitch, and I like the whole pitch. He's telling him you deserve Texas. I think that's a great pitch. I don't know, man. It's it feels like Mike Fasusi, no matter what.
Hey, it worked out for Colin Simmons. Speaking of the recruiting stuff, just really quickly, did you see the Underwood behind-the-scenes type of thing from Portnoy? Did you see what Portnoy said about that whole situation?
No.
So you didn't see the story behind this?
Well, I mean, we talked about it on the show, but I didn't see any. What did he do? One of his emergency press conferences or something?
So 30-second version of this is that Portnoy went on a pod the other day, and if you remember right, 2-3 months ago when he said, "I will pay $2-3 million for a quarterback," right? You remember that?
Yeah.
After that happened, he got reached out to by somebody within the Michigan staff, not coaching staff, but AD, assistant AD, something like this, right? And they said, "Are you serious about this? We'd like to connect you with somebody." And he's like, "Well, I kind of want to just do this on my own. I'll I've been looking at the quarterbacks already." It was just a super weird response he said. I don't know if this is fact or joke or what, but anyway, they go, "Well, we'd like you to connect with I don't know, remember the last name, Ellison." And he's like, "What? Wait, Ellison, the second richest man in the world?" And they're like, "Yes, his wife is an alum of Michigan." He goes, "Oh, okay, I'll take the call." That night, they jump on a Zoom call with this family, the Ellison family, and they are billionaires. And they talk about this thing, blah, blah, blah. They go, let's set up a Zoom call with Underwood. They set up a Zoom call with Underwood. They talk to him and they convince him and convince him and convince him and convince him. And then the
Is
rest is
that
history.
and that's all perfectly legal?
This is the gray area of NIL. They literally just did all this stuff, and basically, I mean, this is the thing. This is the you know, a lot of people are like, well, LSU worked and grinded for 3 years to get this cat to LSU, to keep him at LSU, to make him happy, to make a class around him, and all of a sudden, Portnoy and this Ellison family just come in. They just go, here's a bunch of cash, come play football. And that's just what it is. And now they got like a t-shirt sale at Barstool and something else going on. And all of a sudden it's just like he's the boom. Like that's the gray area. It's
Yo, man, do Big Ten schools have more money to throw around than SEC schools, you think?
I don't
On average?
I don't think so. And so
I
here's the
wonder
thing
if
with this Ellison
feels
thing
like
also is the guy that's actually the second richest in the world, or whatever, the last name Ellison, he was like an Illinois alum. His wife was a Michigan alum, and she was like, I'm not happy waking up and watching a bad football team. I went to school at Michigan when Brady Hoke was there, and I don't want to see them lose. So I want a quarterback. And her husband just was like, all right, cool. And then talked to Portnoy, and they just got a quarterback. Like it has nothing to do with like a collective or anything. It's just like, I want a quarterback. So I'm a fan of a school. It's like saying, like literally, like Joe Rogan goes, I want, a D tackle for Texas, and I want to go get this 700-pound, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
he doesn't care about football.
I know, but but do you think this Ellison guy really does? No, his wife does. But I'm just saying, like, that's what it would be like. It would be like, Elon Musk saying we should go get a 6'6" cornerback, and he's going to be an alien, and I'm going to give him $1 billion, like, and he could just do that. Like, there's no real thing stopping that from happening.
Gonna put a Neuralink in his helmet for the coach to player.
He's like interception incoming and just like jumps the route every single time.
Should we put David Keith Williams' comment up on the board? David Keith Williams, you could say that again, brother, and again and again and again. He says that the comment's so nice. He posted it thrice. This could be a very premature view. I personally think by the end of the 2025 season, Gooseby and Baker will both be playing at an effective level for the Longhorns. Well, they could be. It was interesting. I was doing the deep dig, and like I've always said, I love Gooseby, man. But like, and he hasn't played much this year. But when he has played, he's allowed some disruption. You know what I mean? Like he's still very very much a developmental player, and we know that the same is definitely true of definitely true of Brandon Baker at this point. The craziest thing that I saw when I was doing this, Cody, was the historical comparison for the snaps per production on defense, and because Colin Simmons now he's generating production once every 4.19 snaps, and that's now, we can't say at this point that it's a fluky sample. Like if you look at it at the one by week, where it's like it's the one
rate, when it trickles down,
where it's like, so if you look at it by week, it was guys like Wardell Mack was still up really high because he only played 22 snaps, but in that Colorado State game, Wardell Mack had a pick. Right. And he had some tackles and stuff like that. Right. And so he was generating production in that game, like once every 0.95 snaps or something like that. Something impossible because he actually graded out to where he was getting more than 1 point per snap. Right. The thing is, though, is that obviously comes down through the course of the season when he plays a little bit more, but he only gets up to 22 snaps, but still it falls down to something like 4.42, which you say that can't ever happen, right? Nobody can ever be at 4.42. But dude, Colin Simmons is now sitting at 4.19 on the season. He's played 288 snaps on defense. This last game was bananas for him, man. He had a tackle, he had a sack, he had 3 quarterback hits, 3 pressures, a caused fumble, a batted pass, and a run stuff. Who does that? What kind of sicko is this guy?
No
You
matter
know?
what.
And I watch Anthony Hill and the kind of game that he's able to have and the kind of season he's able to have. He's generating production once every 5.01. If you look at this versus history, just versus history, maybe I can share my screen and just show
I have
what
the top 20 showing on the screen right now.
I think though it's like you have the top 20
Yeah.
historical. Okay.
Yeah. Right
I
there.
think it's worth noting though that list it's a very player that list goes 182 players deep. It's not just that it's like that times 9, right? Um you're looking right there at the top, basically the top 10% of the players as far as their per snap efficiency since 2015 that have played at least 200 snaps.
And look at the drop off too from just this literal top 21 guys showing down to Gary Johnson is 5.01, essentially 5.01 where Anthony Hill is to 7.01, which is a 2-point drop. And all the way at that bottom of that chart that he's saying at a player 182 is 52.
Yeah.
52 points, 36 points, 32 points. A
Yeah.
2-point difference right here between the top 20. It just shows you how dominant Simmons has been through 288 snaps. It's just kind
Yeah.
of wild.
It's or like a 53 or like a not well, I guess you could look at it as points, but it's like just snaps, right? It's just snaps. It's like he's generating production. He's out on the. It doesn't matter if it's a pass rush snap, if it's a whatever it is. Every 4 snaps, he's doing something that's the equivalent of either making a solo tackle or making a run stuff or getting a pressure or getting a quarterback hit. Every 3 snaps or every 2.5 snaps, he's doing something the equivalent of getting a sack. Every 3 snaps, he's doing something that's the defensive equivalent of causing a fumble. It's just, I mean, it's wild, dude. Or wait, no. So I just did that wrong. Every 4 snaps, he's doing something like getting a solo tackle or getting a pressure or getting a run stuff or getting a quarterback hit, right? Every 8 snaps, he's doing something like getting a TFL. Every 10 snaps, he's doing something like getting a sack. Every 12 snaps, he's doing something like causing a fumble or making an interception. That's just in the absence of all other plays, right? In the absence of all the other plays, if you're just looking at that one play in a vacuum. So it's just, I mean, if we're talking about it, dude, I mean, it's the best freshman season at Texas I've ever seen.
It
For anybody. It's a better freshman season than Kelvin Banks.
It's so wild. Like literally he goes out there for a drive, he's making all play. Almost like generally a 3 and out obviously is 3 plays, but I don't know what the stat is on average plays per drive against this defense, but it's probably around 4 or 5 plays per drive would probably be my guess on the average, something along that.
I wish that was something that I could toggle too easily and look at.
I just thought of that for some reason, but I think that's interesting though. Like if you look at it like from that perspective, like hypothetically, I'm gonna guess, just spitballing here. I'm gonna guess that it's probably around 5 plays per drive or 6 plays per drive, something like this, right? He's making a play per drive, which is wild.
Yeah. I wish I didn't have to guess. I wish I could just.
Dude,
I wish I had a formula that I could put in to do that.
Two questions before we get off of this topic exactly. You talked about the weekly snaps production by week. And I love the trends, right? The trends for these players going positive or negative. One, I know Alfred Collins was at 5.74 last week, so he was literally up in that top 5, comparable to Sweat and Murphy of last year as far as the snaps production. He dropped down to 6.43 this week. He didn't drop down below where he was against Florida. Florida, he was moved up to 6.53, then down to 5.74, and then back up to 6.43. Thoughts on that? And then also the Baron Sorrell trend is continuing to go up, and I think he's getting close to getting some color back into that number. Remember, he was all the way back. I think it was literally the Michigan game. He's gotten better no, I'm wrong. There's one game in there that he got dropped down. Every game since the Mississippi State game, he's gotten better. Or am I wrong here?
Let me see. Hold on. Can you guys see this?
Maybe I was thinking something. I thought that was Barron Sorrell that was like that. Now I'm reading it wrong. I'm wrong.
So it's so Alfred Collins, yeah, he had it. I mean, that Arkansas game was just his best game that brought him right down. But you can see the trend line here. So red is bad, white is median, pink is where it's starting to get kind of bad. Look at this move for Sadir Mitchell after this game. Playing
Holy, I totally missed that.
yeah. Playing only three snaps, but on 3 snaps he gets to run stuff in a TFL. Um, dude, did you see? I mean, talk about looking to the future with the defense, man. That's the Deer Missile run stuff. That was with Alex January in there next to him, and um, he had so Sadir actually on that one was at the one shade, and January was at the 3 tech, and January crosses the guard's face, and they get a run stun on.
Yeah.
And he fits up B gap, and just he had a burst towards the ball carrier. I was like, "There's no way he's gonna get it." I'm like, "He's lined up for a run stuff." I'm like, "Oh my god, is he gonna actually turn this into a TFL?" You know, I couldn't believe his burst to the ball carrier to make him do it. And once he gets on the ball carrier, he just swallows him up. You know, um, I thought that was interesting. I think this one down here. Where's Trey Moore now? Like he's had a pretty good look at Trey Moore. I mean, look at where the way he's moving up.
He
He's
was the
not,
one. Sorry. I was looking at Barron Sorrell, and Barron Sorrell's trend was going forward, but I think it was Trey Moore. That was the one that we were talking about before that's gotten better every game.
I mean, Barron Sorrell has been. I mean, Barron Sorrell started out hot. He had a little fall off here versus Michigan and UTSA, and then he's pretty good trend this last 3 weeks. UF, Arkansas, and
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Trey Moore's
Right?
kind of the same though since Georgia.
Trey Moore. It's been since Georgia. It's like Georgia was after the starting at Vandy. He's really been coming on. And then on the other side, you have these guys that have been like, look at this, like this is a bad trend with Vernon Broughton, right?
Yeah.
This is a bad trend with Jalen Gilbo. Manny Muhammad is not really a bad trend. He's just always been here right around 12.
It's also tough for cornerbacks, I think, to look at in this though.
Yeah, I mean, but Jade Barron he's a corner.
He's a bit different though. He's a bit
Well,
maniacal in his games.
I get it, but the fact is, people say like, well, they don't throw it, Manny Muhammad, but they don't, it's like if they don't throw at him all game, then I'm going to give him enough points to where basically he's like, okay, so they didn't throw at him, I'm just going to give him points for an interception. So I mean, that should make up for it. He plays almost the whole game. It's like he's had an interception every game, and that's still the production. It's just he's one of the more productive players. He plays so many snaps. He's not much of a tackler, although he did have a really awesome. He had awesome effort tackle in this last game. He's a great player. I think that next year when they kind of open him up to let him be a little bit more physical and do some of the things that Jade does this year, I think he can be that kind of player. He's shown it. But
Is Ethan Burke's trend is completely every single game gotten worse since the
because Ethan Burke scored a big long pick 6 or whatever that was, right?
That's right. Okay, good reminder there. Question on Burke, because he's at 221 snaps on the year, which is comparative to the guys we just talked about. So Colin Simmons 288, 67 more snaps for Colin Simmons. Vosk's at 55, obviously. Trey Moore is 404, which is literally 183 more than Ethan Burke. And Barron Sorrell's at 371, which is 150 more than Ethan Burke. Burke's a junior. Burke's going to be a senior next year. Is this just going to be, we talked about Trey Moore potentially going back to Texas. I think that would make sense at the current rate. I think he's turned it on a lot. But if they can convince him to go back, I mean, this could be a really, really, really disgusting edge room in 2024, in 2025 with Simmons and Moore, and be really kind of what we kind of assumed it was going to be with Moore and Sorrell, but potentially better with
And
Moore
that guy that I have
Simmons
highlighted.
and Vosick was a good point. My question more so was about Burke. It's like Burke is, I think we both would say this, that he's got the NFL body, he's got the NFL abilities, but there's just not a lot of snaps here. And it kind of like a Lucas Van Ness type of a situation where he's just probably not going to ever be like a focal point in the room. But I think he's got the traits and the intangibles to
Yeah,
do it.
you gotta remember too that when Vosick was, well, the people in the chat don't know, but wasn't he a 5-star?
Colton Vosick?
I mean, if he wasn't a 4-star, he's one of the. I mean, he was dancing the streets kind of guy. Whenever they got him.
Vosick was a 4-star, yeah.
Okay. I want to
talking about Burke, but I mean, but to be honest, Vosick kind of fits the same boat, though. I guess.
I think Vosick is the better looking prospect of the two. He has like his body's filled out in what looks like a more natural way.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is like Burke is not going to get an opportunity.
Some of Burke's weight looks a tiny bit forced.
His weight, his what?
The way that he holds his weight, it feels a tiny bit forced.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that at all. It looks like when he put on a lot. Two springs ago, he put on a lot of fast weight.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a little bit of pudge there for sure. But I mean, like another year in the program next year, and then cycling through to get ready for the season, like for the NFL, like that's 2 full years of weight training. Like I think he'll probably be fine. Like it's not like he's 6'2.5", 6'3". Like he's pretty big and strapped up. I agree with you on Vosick, but I'm saying like you could lump them together. Both together. I guess in terms of this and being like, well, Sorrell's there and Simmons is there and Moore's there and this edge room is loaded and these guys are probably not going to get true like opportunities to be like the star in the room or get the most reps, but they're going to get tape because they're at Texas. Like even with their roles, I guess is the better question. Even with their roles, do you feel really confident about these guys being in the NFL, making it to the NFL? I guess Burke is the easiest one right now because he got the most snaps so far.
Well, I mean, dude, they were talking about Burke. They were talking about Burke back in the spring, like a guy that was it was the Alabama tape from last year.
Yeah,
that one scout brought up with me. The scouts that won't call me back anymore. I was like, do you have any idea why this doesn't happen? Why people aren't calling me back anymore? It's weird. My theory is that maybe it's because Texas is good and they've already got their eyes on all these players and they can't pilfer me for all my information anymore. They're like, oh, we don't need to hear from him. Like we've already watched all these dudes. And it's generally when those conversations, it's like a information exchange. If they can't pull something out of you, they're not going to give you any info. But anyways, like one of the guys I was talking to, it was before like in the springtime. He's just like, yeah, Burke. He had mentioned the Alabama tape. I was like, I don't remember that much about Alabama, but I think that in that level of game, you get so many good evaluation reps, and he probably has some good evaluation reps over there versus Latham. But I think Burke goes to the NFL. I think Vosick can, but Vosick just needs to stay healthy.
He needs to get a full season of playing every week.
Yeah. And Jason Hablinski saying it in the chat. I knew some services had him as a 5-star. They definitely did. It's like, here's the thing: when you see a player of his quality, and he's going to be good. It's kind of like going into Texas Beef Traders. It really, really is. Like you walk into Texas Beef Traders, and you look around, and you're like, oh, well, this is different. This is my kind of place. It's right there right there off Loman's Crossing, right there in the heart of Lakeway. Cody's not even from Austin, and he got there in a second coming from the airport. Just super easy to get to. Plug it in your GPS and head out to Lakeway. Come to Texas Beef Traders. It's worth the trip. They're going to feed you some food. They're going to, if you want beers or wine, or they even have like kombucha and stuff there and stuff. It's an awesome place. The people who've been to the live shows will be able to tell you just how hospitable Darren and Shay and everybody up there is. Just super awesome people. Again, you get 10% off. All this meat has no vaccines, no antibiotics, no weird steroid shots, none of it, all non-GMO, just all natural, good, clean protein. I ate Texas Beef Traders last night for dinner. I'm eating Texas Beef Traders for dinner tonight. Not eating it tomorrow. because I've already gone and gotten barbecue to heat up for tomorrow, so I can have barbecue and mac and cheese, a real man's Thanksgiving. Um, but if cooking barbecue wasn't so hard, I would have gone to Texas Beef Traders to go get the beef rib. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to screw up a Thanksgiving beef rib. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Check them out. You can buy them now boxes. They have a box named after me. It's great. It's got 2 Delmonico steaks. I think it's got some 2 Delmonico steaks. One, what was it? Oh yeah, one of the what's the one with the fat caps around the outside? The Argentinian cut, Cody. I forget the name.
Picanha.
One picanha, and then one beef tenderloin tips, which are like my favorite, and then like a few packs of the ground beef and a few packs of the Piedmontese, and then some snack sticks. It's like it's an incredible deal. I think it's like 100 what was it, Cody? $135. Just
Something like that.
Yeah, you get 10% off by just telling them that you heard from us there. So Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. We would tell you to buy the beef jerky, but they're sold out. So they're going to get it back. I think it's back in this week, but they need to get it back up online. And then Cody and I are going to have a new product offering for you soon. That's going to be our best one yet. All right. Do you know the other thing that, people in the chat were saying this stuff about, enjoy this defense, right? Enjoy it this year.
Why is it gone?
What's good? Well, no, I mean,
or is it getting better?
You're kind of making my point for me. The real thing that you need to enjoy is the offensive line. It's like I don't want to pee in the Cheerios or whatever, what in the old punch bowl.
Take your belt off.
Yeah, man. I mean, everyone's gone except DJ Campbell. And, I still think there's might be a 5% chance that DJ Campbell leaves.
I forgot to bring that up. How did you think DJ Campbell looked this week against, and how did you think Deion Walker looked when you did that? Not to go way off of this or anything. I think you stay on this same topic, but can you bring up? You just brought up DJ Campbell. Can you give a thought on DJ Campbell from this last week?
From Deion versus number 0?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a knockdown against him. There were some plays where DJ got. There were some plays where those were some good evaluation reps. It wasn't like a monster. It wasn't a super monster game for any of these guys, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at the grades by week, you can see here.
Yeah.
Let me just pull it up.
He dropped back down. Not as bad as the Georgia game or the Oklahoma game, but he dropped back down.
Yeah. Well, these are the actual individual grades from the games.
Yeah.
So these aren't the cumulative ones like the snaps per production on defense.
Correct.
But it's like this one here, DJ Campbell, his average deep dig grade on the season for games is a 78.43. He was at a 77.42 in this game. That's totally fine. It's like perfectly reasonable. It's really good. It's these 80 scores that get you, NFL to where it's like, we know you're an NFL prospect. And typically, man, if I saw, in the SEC 480 scores on somebody, I'd say that's a guy that can go pro. And so that's why I think that DJ Campbell could maybe go pro. It's just that that the tape from the Georgia game is so bad that I think that probably, people are going to look at that and say, man, there's no way, but there's also the fact that if you just look at the snaps per disruption historically, or the snaps per disruption versus historically, the historical comparison, look how far down you got to go here to get to DJ Campbell. So we're looking at, since 2013, we've had 83 Texas offensive linemen that played at least 200 snaps, and DJ Campbell sitting at number 56 out of 82.
Which is that Christian Jones junior year.
Yeah, or guys like, you guys remember like Elijah Rodriguez, Tristan Nicholson, Denzel Okafor, Mason Walters, Cedric Flowers as a senior. Whenever Cedric Flowers had a I thought he moved down from his senior year from his junior to senior year, but it looks like no, he was 21.9 and he moved up to 24.6. Cedric Flowers, man, must have just been Was he at this during the same time as Trey Hopkins? Because Trey Hopkins is still up here in the total lead. Kelvin Banks is falling back down here to 45.1. He had another pressure in this game. But what I wanted to show here was just on the grades by week. You see here, so you have all these, all these are like shades of pink, right? Basically, except for Jake Majors, who played almost basically a baseline game, tiny, tiny, tiny bit below baseline, right? But these are all kind of pink, right? Looks like the inside of a medium steak. And if you just but it's like an 81 and an 80 and a 79 and 277s. I just want to show you, just even looking back at, say, let's look at Sarkisian's first. Was Sark's first year at Texas 2021?
Yes.
Okay, let's look back at that. So remember what this looks like, right? 81, 80, 79, 77, all this. And this is kind of a rough, just a kind of a meh game, right? Kind of a meh game. Okay, now let's look at this. I gotta make it bigger. But look at this. The highest average was Junior Angelau, and he averaged 76.55 as far as his scores. These guys were all like 75. That was the best. That was the best. What was the best game this season?
I think it was
80.07 somebody had. Oh, it was Junior Angelau here versus Tech. So it's like that was the best game that anybody played all season. And in this last game, Texas had three players that basically played almost at that exact same level. Just in one game where it was kind of a mad game. Like, if that doesn't tell you something about not only what Kyle Flood has done as far as the development of these players, but what I mean, you have an incredible offensive line right now. Texas has to Texas got to beat A&M, dude. They got to go to the SEC championship. They got to make their run, man. Things are lined up for it. It's I believe in Kyle Flood's ability to develop these players. I also believe that team building is through the two lines of scrimmage. And I believe it's incredibly valuable whenever you have a tour de force at one of them. Texas has one right now. They need to take full advantage. And it's hard to take full advantage. I know when you have Jaden Blue always laying the ball on the ground, and Trey Wisner, and I get it. I get it. A banged up Quinn, Isaiah Bond's banged up. Like, I can understand how it can be hard to take full advantage, but man, at some point, everything needs to come together, and all systems need to be go. And you just need to say, we're going to get behind this offensive line, and we're going to ride this thing to a title, because this thing doesn't line up like this that often, man. This is my 13th year doing this. It's never happened. And this is the University of Texas. Now, granted, they've had some bad football, but I mean, it's no mistake that people talk about Texas for the Joe Moore Award. It's a sight to behold, and it's just like, I'm glad that you guys and us are going to be able to see it. Brad C says you need to get your deep dig into a software with some built-in business intelligence weaved in. So you're not the third person who's told me that. There was somebody that told me that in my column today, saying like, man, you should just put this in Chat GPT and see what it spits out. See what kind of article it spits out.
Would be interesting.
I do have. So one guy did reach out to me that just got his degree in some kind of AI integration stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'd love to do that. Cause he's like, I'll help you with it. I was like, yeah, dude, I'd love to do that. And he sent me an email back. He's like, all right, well, here's where we start. And he sent me back an email that I could tell he had AI right? Because he's obviously super into AI and he uses it to streamline all this stuff. But it had a million questions for me. I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of the season, man. I can't be answering back all these robot questions. I'm going to send them back to you, and you're going to, but as soon as the season gets done and I'm out of this, I've spent all day today just doing the deep dig, and then I had to do the rankings model for fantasy football because we have the Thanksgiving slate tomorrow. Before we get off here, Cody, we ought to see if we have any prize picks that we like for tomorrow's games. But and then I had to make the DFS cheat sheet for DraftKings and FanDuel, even though Cody, it feels like people aren't playing DK and FanDuel salary cap stuff near as much as they're playing Pick'em these days.
Yeah. I'm the last couple of years I would play maybe 10 lineups a week, maybe sometimes 20. This year I literally do one single lineup a week. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still play more than that just because if I'm having to do all the research and build the tools, I'm gonna
That's somebody that's in the space that I'm just kind of like, I'm not like burnt out on it, but I'm just like, I just
make them so much easier, dude.
Oh, it's so much easier. And it's you versus, I mean, you trying to find an edge, whereas you're trying to find an edge, in a field of, 800 people or 15,000 people or 200,000 people. And there's so much like overlay and different stuff that you can't really control. And not that you can control any of it anyway, but it's a lot less variables, a lot less things to cheer for, a lot less things that can go wrong when you're just like, hey, man, is Tua Tagovailoa going to have 2 passing touchdowns? Sure he is. Let's do it. And that's it. It's that easy. Instead of, Tua with who? Waddle or Tyreek or Jonnu?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to be A-Chan out of that? Like it's just
a lot of options. Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of options. I mean, it's like Poncho. Whenever you go to Poncho Outdoors and go to their site, it's what I like about their shirts. So their shirts are all named after these cool like Texas locations and stuff like that. It's always like the Matamoros or the Brazos or the the Palo Duro or stuff like this, man. It's really cool. It's like each shirt has its own kind of character to it, and these shirts are built so well. I mean, these are awesome shirts. I love the new denim one that I got. I got it in the athletic cut where it kind of fits a little bit snugger around the shoulders and chest and around the waist. And you can wear it just like over. You can wear it over your t-shirt, just like it's like a light jacket or something like that. Or you can wear it tucked in like a regular old shirt for church or going to a meeting. But that one that Colt's wearing, man, like those are my favorite ones. Is the short sleeve Western pearl snap ones. They're great for in the summertime for just going around. If you play golf or just like he's doing, going around filling up feeders. Right during the Axis rut in the middle of the summer, those shirts will keep you cool, man. You can go fishing in them. They got a little pocket for your dry bag. They have a lens like a lens cleaner microfiber thing on the inside of the shirt for whenever your glasses get all funky out there. So make sure and check out Poncho Outdoors, man. They're such a great sponsor. We love their clothes. They're UT grads. Great company to support is Poncho Outdoors. So thanks so much for sponsoring the show. Gosh, 600 people in the Specs chat line right now. It's a lot of people for the night before Thanksgiving, Cody. I know that when I went to Specs earlier to get to get some wine for my solo dad Thanksgiving and go with my barbecue and get some tequila. Specs was packed. Let's go ahead and hear from them.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
All right, Cody. Final thoughts heading into Thanksgiving. You got any big Thanksgiving takes you got to get off your chest?
Well, first off, what are you just bailing on cooking anything? You just ordered in?
No, I went to the barbecue place and just got a big hump me off like a pound of brisket and then get some mac and cheese.
You're just gonna be slumming. You're just gonna be working all day, slumming, just eating pre-cooked. No cook. I love that. I'm kind of jealous.
Just throw it in the crock pot, man. It'll heat back up nice and slow. I'll just eat it like that. I'm gonna have to go to my mom, to my sisters and mom, and some I guess my immediate family because my immediate family, my wife and kids, they leave to go to Dallas and I can't leave. I got the DFS cheat sheets. I got to, you know what I mean?
Yep.
To answer questions on the site. There's nowhere there I can broadcast. The house is too small. The Wi-Fi is too slow. So there's no way to do it. So they go up there. So I'm here. But I can only go over there for like a couple hours because of the workflow schedule. So I'm just going to go over there before they eat and hang out and say hello and then come back home.
I think I told you I was going to do prime rib. I pivoted at Costco today to lamb rack. I bought 5 racks of lamb, 5 lamb racks. and I'm gonna do a couple of them on the Weber, and I'm gonna do a couple of them on the
How many
Pelican.
people are you having over?
My mom and brother rode with me in the truck from Minnesota.
Oh, they did?
And then my sister flies in from South Dakota tonight. So there'll be 5 of us. So I got 5 racks.
You guys were rabble rousing 19 hours together, the old fam.
Dude, the car is supposed to be about 1940, and I will say we drove for about 24. Not to get into that, but the if you remember the Asheville storm from like a month and a half ago, and the highway washed out, yeah, that was the path I was supposed to take. I didn't take that path, but there's that.
I can answer this from Hunter real quick. I mean, we're having to wrap up, but do you think the college football playoff committee is watching the Q? No, we've talked about it. It's like, yeah, they're watching the QB situation closely. So I was worried about what happened with Florida State last year. It's totally different. Totally different. And the main reason why it's because Quinn has a super capable backup that you've seen play and you've seen come in and win games. And it's also that Arch actually makes it more exciting for fans. And it's also that it wasn't just his backup, Rodemaker. It was Rodemaker's backup.
The true freshman, Brock Glenn.
Yeah, it was like you've seen a game with him where it's just completely goes busto, and you say, well, I can look at that game and I can look if Arch came in this game and went completely busto. What they would say is like, well, we've had 2 games where we've seen him actually look like really good, like SportsCenter highlights and stuff, and we've seen one game where he looks busto, but it's we've seen games where Quinn Ewers looks busto. Watch Georgia, dude got benched. So I mean, it's absolutely not. No other Thanksgiving takes. You got a favorite thing that you're going to eat tomorrow? Any kind of special like dessert or anything?
Dessert. My mom's got a good apple pie she'll make. I got some Honeycrisp apples today at the store. Corn bake, probably my favorite side. Gonna have some corn bake.
How many lamb lollipops is that fat little brother of yours going to eat?
He's probably going to try and take his sisters and his mom's. I don't know how that's going to go over, but
what's he, like an 8th grade offensive lineman or something like that? And
also, like 9th grade now. Same height as me now.
Oh God!
And from a projection standpoint, first off, you have a son. He's not this age yet, but I would assume you've watched plenty and enough middle school, high school age sports to be able to be like, yeah, projection, just like you can kind of college to NFL. Yeah. Got some inches left in him still.
Yeah.
Which is.
I should quit calling him a little pudge ball, I guess.
It's different for me though, because I'm like one of the biggest in the whole family. I got an uncle that's bigger than me, but that's it. And like now I think he's gonna be bigger than everybody in the family, which is wild. But yeah, man. Anyway, corn bake, lamb pops, and finish off with some apple pie. Those are the 3 features.
What is a corn bake? Just out of curiosity.
Corn bake is a so you got the jiffy cornbread mix. You got creamed corn. You got like a sour cream and a bunch of other crap. My mom makes it, but my grandma actually makes it. But it's basically that plus some other stuff.
This is just cornbread.
It's cornbread, but it's also corn. So you basically mix creamed corn and cornbread are the 2 features of it, and then you mix together, adds eggs and sour cream and stuff, and it becomes like a half cornbread, half like corn.
Huh. No, fair enough.
Love it though.
Feels kind of like some kind of Minnesota tamale or something like that.
Pretty much.
All right. Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find me on X at Alex Dunlap NFL. You can find Cody at Cody Carpentier. Thanks so much to all you guys for tuning in tonight and everybody who's going to be tuning in tomorrow. If you're watching this as you're going to visit friends and family, thanks so much for continuing to tune in here. We hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. God bless you guys. God bless your families. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.